Imagine this. You wake up one morning, reach for your phone, and ... nothing. No signal. The Wi-Fi is dead. It's not just your house. It's your entire city. Your country. The whole world. No Google. No phones. No cloud. What happens if the entire internet goes dark? Forever. Let's be clear, this isn't a temporary outage. This is the end of the digital age as we know it. The first few hours would be a strange mix of confusion and eerie silence. People would step outside looking for answers, but their primary tool for information is gone. News would have to travel the old-fashioned way, by word of mouth, by people physically going to news stations, which themselves would be in chaos. Within 24 hours, the first major system to collapse would be the global economy. The stock market, it doesn't exist without the internet. It's not a physical place. It's a network of servers. Trillions of dollars would evaporate instantly. Your bank account. It's just a number in a digital ledger. With the servers down, there's no proof of your savings. Banks would be mobbed by people desperate to withdraw cash. But ATMs are useless and tellers can't access account information. Credit cards, obsolete. The world's financial system would grind to a halt, plunging us into a global depression unlike anything ever seen. Next comes the communication breakdown. We take for granted our ability to contact anyone, anywhere, instantly. Suddenly, you can't call your family in another state, let alone another country. Emergency services would be crippled. Coordinating police, fire, and medical responses without digital communication would be a logistical nightmare. The carefully balanced systems that keep our society running would start to unravel. Think about our supply chains. Modern logistics are a masterpiece of internet-powered coordination. Ports, trucking companies, and railways all rely on real-time data to move goods. Without it, ships wouldn't know where to dock, trucks wouldn't know their routes, and store shelves would empty out within days. Food, medicine, fuel oil, the essentials would become scarce. Cities, which depend on a constant inflow of resources, would become traps. And then there's the less tangible but equally devastating loss, our collective memory. Where is our knowledge stored? In the cloud, on servers, on Wikipedia, in digital libraries. Billions of photos, videos, books, scientific papers, and historical records would simply cease to exist. It would be like a global library of Alexandria burning down, but on an unimaginable scale. We would lose a huge part of our culture, our history, and our scientific progress. Think of all the art, music, and literature, born and living exclusively online. Gone. How would we even begin to rebuild? In the immediate aftermath, survival would be the priority. Communities would have to reorganize on a local level. People with practical skills, farmers, mechanics, doctors, builders would become the new leaders. We'd have to rediscover analog methods for everything. Communication would revert to older forms. Ham radio operators would become vital information hubs. We'd have to reestablish postal services, relying on physical mail, which would be slow and unreliable at first. Newspapers would need to be printed and distributed physically again, becoming the primary source of trusted information. For knowledge, we'd turn to the physical books that remain. Libraries and personal collections would become sanctuaries of preserved information. We'd have to restart a printing press industry from scratch to disseminate new information, from farming techniques to medical procedures. Education would have to be completely with teachers relying on a handful of surviving textbooks and their own knowledge. The economy would have to be rebuilt from the ground up, starting with local barter systems. Communities would trade goods and services directly. Over time, new, localized forms of currency might emerge. Global trade would be a distant dream, a relic of a hyper-connected past. What would this new world look like? It would be slower, quieter, and far more local. our horizons would shrink dramatically. The global village would fracture into countless isolated towns. But it might not all be bad. We'd be forced to connect with our neighbors, to rely on each other. We would rediscover the value of community, of face-to-face interaction, of a shared reality, not filtered through a screen. We'd have to learn to entertain ourselves again without endless streaming. Storytelling, local theater, and live music would see a renaissance. We'd look at the stars again, not because we chose to, but because the glow of a million screens no longer outshines them. The sudden death of the internet would be a cataclysm, an extinctional level event for the modern world. It would test humanity's resilience to its absolute limit. But through the chaos and loss, we might find a new way of living, one that is more tangible, more local, and perhaps more human. It forces us to ask a crucial question. How much of our world and how much of ourselves have we outsourced to the digital realm? And could we survive without it? Thanks for watching this thought experiment with us. If you enjoyed this journey into a world without the web, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more what-if scenarios. Let us know in the comments what you think would be the hardest part of living without the internet. See you in the next one!